Hi, thanks for stopping by. I'm Nick,
I'm Karen.
and today what are we going to be discussing?
Well, finding love in our sort of late 40s and 50s
And later.
and later.
And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of talk about our story here, which will hopefully you'll find inspiring. So let's have a deep dive.
Yeah, well, neither of us were new to relationships. We
Not
like to think
not when we hit 50, no.
we like to think we were older and wiser. And I think I would agree with that. We wanted a relationship that was going to go somewhere. We didn't want to waste time, just going out with someone to fill time. We wanted to find someone that wanted to have a meaningful relationship with a goal of being together for, lifelong partners or as long as it works and hopefully lifelong.
Dare I say we were looking for a soulmate?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we really were. And well, I've tried lots of things to find my soulmate. I'd been single for 2 years. I'd had all my friends pulling out all the stops, inviting me over for double dates. None of them worked out. Some of them are really quite sort of embarrassing. And then you have to say to, your friend's best friend, sorry, no, not for me. And then I had done all the trawling around the bars with girlfriends, meeting people, usually didn't, well, none of them worked out. Either people were very drunk or just didn't get that connection. Um, and I was sort of stumped. I was, in a profession which actually did have quite a few. Oh no, at that point, my school didn't have any men in it. So I wasn't going to meet anyone through the job. And it was like, where do I go next?
Yes. So I suppose we should talk briefly about my situation.
Mm.
So uh, so I'd come out at the end of this relationship, which sort of ended badly, and I got on with online dating with a vengeance. So because I'm a writer. How do you meet people if you're a writer? So I got out there online dating, and I did lots of dates, lots and lots and lots of dates, and some of which worked out into one in particular into a fantastic friendship. But obviously, I was looking for that spark, and that person I really could, as Karen said, spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah, so eventually a very good friend of mine said, right, you've been single for over 2 years now. This is ridiculous. I'm putting you on a dating site. I'm like, oh my God, no, not internet dating. I can't do it. She said, well, we're doing it. And we're going to put you on My Single Friend. So she actually wrote my blurb and it went up. And then I had this person connect with me via obviously the email. And I was at home at the time visiting my dad, and I read out to my dad what Nick had said, and I said, I like this one. And my dad said, yeah, he's an author though, so if he can't write a good script, what is he? Don't be fooled by the script. And I said, but yes, he's got, he is bald. And I said I'd never go out with a bald bloke. I said, look at his smile. And my dad said, well, anyone could put on a smile for the camera. And I said, are you saying I shouldn't do this? He said, no, just be skeptical. So we did meet.
We did meet, and well, it's sort of everything you'd hope it might be. It felt like I'd met an old friend the first time I met Karen, and we met up in a pub which was sort of halfway between the two of us, a sort of gastro pub, which is like really sort of quite funky. And we met up, and the conversation just flowed right from the get-go, and we had a real chuckle.
We did. And one thing, I mean, I was complete novice to this internet dating, but I remember sort of pretty much within a couple of days, Nick said, do you fancy meeting? And I didn't realise that was unusual.
Yeah, now, because of my experience, I've done a lot of online dating, and what I quickly worked out is that you can create a slightly sort of false impression of somebody if you're just like communicating with them via email. And so there's no real substitute for actually getting on and meeting somebody and having sort of done that, made that mistake previously, I was determined not to do it with Karen. So I said, let's do this. Actually, let's get together. And it was literally within 3 days, that first sort of communication.
Yeah.
And it's literally the best thing we could have done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was brilliant. And I remember my girlfriend said, just go, just go. And I did go. And I think I hadn't washed my hair. And I sort of just got there but the whole evening just flowed. I got home and did have a migraine.
Do you want to tell about the famous thing I did at the meal that you loved?
Oh, yes, yes. One thing at the meal. So this is when I thought, so after my first meeting with Nick, I was very scared I think unconsciously very scared to meet anyone. And I put lots of barriers up.
Mm.
And I had admitted to myself that I really liked Nick, but that there was no physical attraction. It was just a friendship. That's what I sort of had in my mind. But one lovely thing that did happen at the meal that made me think this is a really lovely person is that we were actually at a restaurant with a white tablecloth. And while I was at the meal, I was sort of using what I thought was the white napkin, and I was actually dabbing it on my mouth, and it was the tablecloth.
Yeah.
So we made a joke about that, and then a couple of minutes later, Nick then did the same, used the tablecloth, and I thought, well, that
deliberately, but,
just put me at my comfort.
And what was quite good at the end of this sort of day, it was that I could sort of see, in some ways, Karen was sort of surfacing from a previous relationship still, and I had had plenty of time to it. And I think the analogy I would use, and you may sort of, maybe you're in a similar place to Karen as she was then, but it was like she was surrounded by a fog almost, this mist, and she couldn't quite see me, for that matter, sort of clearly. And it's almost a question of sort of waiting for this sort of fog to evaporate around, and then she would start to really see me. So one of my previous dates, who'd become a really good friend, she said to me, give Karen time, she will see you. She really will see you who you are. So it was really useful having friends around me. It's sort of like had my back, because I could tell immediately that Karen was very special, and all my friends would tell me, you're really special, just give it time, and she will see you.
And my lovely friend said, was he revolting? Did he repulse you? And I said, no, he didn't. Whether you damn well go back and have a second date then. And so I did go back and have a second date. And we went for a walk, didn't we?
Oh, we did.
A walk and a pub lunch, which was really nice. Because one, I wanted someone that I could share my interests with. I wanted someone that loved the outdoors. So on that walk, we discovered that we both had very similar interests. And in fact, well, so many things we had in common, of which I can't think of any now. But
the big one on our profiles was absolutely true. And what's good about My Single Friend, but certainly then, was that a friend writes your profile for you, and so they sort of say the lovely things about you can never say about yourself, really. But yeah. It's really. But what's good about that is a really true picture of the person is built up. And both our cases, it was travel. Travel was a really big thing for both of us. And I think I had some great photographs on there of going to Iceland with my son, and looking very much the explorer. And so it's really great. So we both had that in common right from the start.
So one of the things that when I met Nick, although I was probably unconsciously trying to protect myself and sort of finding fault with Nick and reasons why I shouldn't like this person that was quite obviously very suited to me, was that I had actually done a lot of work on myself, particularly my self-esteem after the end of my last relationship. So I had, I had thought about, what I was like and what positive things, I could bring to a relationship. And I felt that I was, a good catch, but I didn't necessarily feel that before I'd done, the work at the end of the last relationship. So I think I came to the relationship feeling, I deserve someone that's going to treat me with respect. I deserve somebody who's going to really be my soulmate, who's really going to share my kind of madness. There's some quote there, isn't there, about love, finding someone as mad as you for
Truly,
love.
madly, deeply.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was in a good place. And I think you had done sort of similar
Yeah,
work, hadn't
and
you?
I had a relationship which had ended badly and has sort of pretty much sort of destroyed my self-esteem for a while. And but what was sheer coincidence, I was starting the session with that life coach the week that that relationship broke up, and that was really, really positive. That really enabled me to do a sort of fairly deep dive on myself and what I really wanted and what I wanted in the future. Um, and that really helped get my headspace sorted out before I met Karen. And so we were both actually in quite a similar. We both were fairly bruised. I was probably a bit less so by that point. You were very much so, but we were in a quite a similar sort of headspace, actually ready for a new relationship. Um, and I think that's part of the. It worked so well. We were just, and we were able. There was, we had several dates and we were getting closer. Um, and Karen gave me a run around a bit, of course. But we had one very special weekend, and it was, without going into detail, it was incredibly healing for both of us. There were tears, there was laughter, there was joy. When we really found each other, and that was very
Yeah,
special.
and it was like nothing I'd ever known
No,
before.
no, it was.
And just put this relationship on a level
Oh,
that I'd never
yeah.
experienced. I thought it was in the sort of romantic books that you found this kind of relationship, but this actually was, or I felt, it had the potential to be everything.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that you can be in slightly different emotional spaces, and you sort of, I think particularly with me, it's almost like watching Karen spiral in towards me as her baggage that she was like, approaching this new relationship
Mm.
with, sort of was disappeared, and we actually truly found each other, not straight away, but over a period about 3 or 4 months,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was a really solid start, as best as you could hope for, I think.
Yeah, and because of the work I'd done on myself, I was really clear about these are my boundaries. This is what I want. Um, and I was able to express those needs, obviously in a respectful way. And I think it mirrored what you wanted as well.
Yeah,
Me setting clear boundaries and me expressing my needs was
yeah,
something that you wanted to focus on in a new
yeah,
relationship, wasn't it?
absolutely. And we set down pretty much almost some rules, I think, at the start, if I remember correctly,
Yeah,
um, about what it's all about. Obviously respecting each other, but also respecting ourselves in this new
yeah,
relationship.
very much, very much. And we both wanted to, we're really keen to get it right and not make the mistakes
Mm.
of past relationships and repeat old patterns. Because I think we've said before in another video, we were both people pleasers.
Yeah,
So I didn't, I wanted to be me and authentic in the relationship. So I didn't want to, when I wanted to skip across the road, not do that because I think I might be judged, or when I want to say something stupid, or whatever I want to do. I wanted to just be really authentic to
yeah.
myself. And, to be honest, if Nick didn't want it and already criticised me, I would have gone. But actually, we appreciated those quirks in each other,
I
didn't
think
we?
it's really where you appreciate each other's madness, isn't it?
Mm.
It's that you really. I mean, I think what I mean. Also, there's aspects of your personality that maybe starts to rub off on the other person. I think certainly with Karen, she's brought a lightness of being into me and a joy, and a, she's sparked up my sense of humour again, and we love to be silly together.
Yeah.
Basically.
We laugh a lot, and I always think that's a
Oh
good
yeah.
sign.
Yeah,
Have a
absolutely.
good time shopping in Tesco, sort of thing.
But it's laugh a lot, love a lot. It's that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say to you, if you're thinking of trying to going into a new relationship or in a relationship, just, check yourself. Are you ready for that relationship to develop? Are you a workaholic? Are you putting your work first? Almost as an unconscious excuse. Are you able to set boundaries so that you have the relationship that
Mm.
you want and you deserve? Can you confidently stand up for yourself and express, your needs in a respectful way? And is the person that you're going to meet or are with at the moment, are they able to be receptive to that, and also be able to do that in the relationship, feel safe enough in the relationship with you to do that?
So I think just a sort of general point
Mm.
is that we met when we were sort of both approaching 50, and we've been together 12,
13 years, I
13
think.
years now, and it's never too late. So if you think that the world's going to pass you by at age 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to actually get out there and try these things. Now, I know online dating, for example, is not maybe as popular as it used to be. But, sort of things like, I never used Tinder, never sort of interested me, that sort of dating app. But there are ways to meet people.
Mm.
And I think what I would always say is look for common interests. So,
Yeah.
join, if you love the outside, you love walking, join a walking group. Maybe
Mm.
you'll meet somebody that way. Sort of get out there with
Cooking
cooking
classes.
classes, dancing, whatever it is. Join a gym has always been a
Yeah,
classic. But it's trying to find people who really share your values, and but look for friendship. Friendships are very important, but sometimes they can spark and grow into something even more. And
absolutely.
that's what happened for us. So I'll just encourage you to, if you're sort of thinking, oh, I've never met somebody, don't give up,
Yeah,
please.
go out with the intention of, you know, meeting this new person, as maybe as a potential friend, or it might end up as a horrendous interaction, but maybe you can dine out on that experience,
Exactly.
funny
Yeah.
experience, or maybe you're just not right for each other and you just kind of
And that will
respectfully
happen.
part.
And as I say, I did all the practice dating for Karen. She met. I was literally the first person she met on sort of online
The
dating.
only one,
Only one.
the only one.
Meanwhile, I'd done all the legwork, sort of like trying to find Karen, and just because but all of those, you have to try. You get out there and
Yeah,
say okay, and you both generally agree you're not quite right for each other, and that's fine.
yeah.
And that you keep going, but don't settle. Look for somebody who's really right for you, and you'll be so happy you did.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is to um, recognize that there's physical chemistry, but also mental chemistry, and that if you're coming into a relationship after a while, or you've had hurt in your life, then maybe you won't even recognize them if they're right under your nose. So I'm eternally grateful to my friend
And so
to
why?
telling me, because I didn't find him completely horrible, to go back again, because I wouldn't have done. So I would urge you, if you think, there's a person there that you
Yeah.
like, go back. Who knows what can grow from that?
And sometimes physical attraction can come later. This is what happened with Karen with me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought this beautiful woman is this a vision right from the get go. But also,
He's found out I'm not now.
yeah, I'm not going to fall into that bear trap. But sometimes you will find each other through a series of dates. So
Yeah.
don't worry if it's not like love at first sight. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think just stay positive. If you don't meet someone the first time, don't worry. If you don't meet someone the next time, you do what Nick did. You just get up and go again.
And don't mistake that with anything to do with self-worth.
Yeah.
You it's about just sort of somebody who clicks with you and you click with them. So don't beat yourself up about that either, please.
And one other bit of advice my girlfriend gave me was, don't talk about your ex all evening, because that's not going to be particularly sexy for the other person. So, and Nick was brilliant at asking me questions, but asking them, what do they enjoy doing? What's the perfect holiday, the best food, the best film?
Yeah.
Or I know you asked me a question, what was the last film you saw and what do you think of it? And I can still remember that now.
Yeah.
And it was a documentary about orangutans. So I was lucky I had something fairly intellectual to talk about.
But it's, just have maybe some questions up your sleeve, which are great sort of
Yeah.
icebreakers and sort of but when the conversation flows and you find that person, you'll know very quickly. And
Or maybe not quickly, maybe it will take a few weeks, but
it'll take a few weeks, but
yeah.
you'll sort of maybe know deep down. And it's really, really worth it. We have been so happy together. We're so good for each other.
Yeah.
We're so complimentary each other.
And we challenge each other all the time. We don't let anything that
No.
annoys each other.
Oh, we've done a whole video about having arguments.
We're very open and we resolve things so we don't get that build up.
Yeah.
So, I would say, make sure you've done some honest reflection, that you're actually ready and strong enough and to express your needs, to talk about your boundaries in your new relationship that's going to happen, and enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it. You're getting out there, you might make friends along the way, and you've got the potential of meeting your future soulmate.
So I think we should just wrap up some questions to you here. So obviously we'd really love to hear your thoughts and your experiences about dating especially as you get older. Have you found a soulmate maybe later in life?
And how did you find them? Was it through an interest or internet dating?
I think that's always a question that everybody's always interested in, is how did you meet?
Yeah.
And we've certainly been asked that.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And just thinking about, what are your interests? Getting out there, doing them. You might meet someone or make friends. And also, making sure that you know what you love about yourself. Don't be shy, ask a friend. If you're not sure, don't, just really think about it, because you are someone who's completely unique and special.
Yeah.
And everyone, if they want that special person, everyone deserves them.
Yeah.
But you've got to put the groundwork in sometimes.
You're in.
Yeah. So that's kind of worked for us, our story, and we hope we've kind of inspired you in whatever way to go and find your soulmate.
Absolutely. This has probably been a bit of a longer video than usual, because obviously when you start to go down this route, there's a lot to talk about. But anyway, I hope some of that's been sort of useful or just interesting. But as always, do that, like, subscribe, but really particularly, if you've got any sort of comments, love to see those. So you take care. We will see you guys
next
soon.
week.
Next week.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.